Namaste. Namaste to all. Prostrating at the lotus feet of Brahmanishta Shrotriya Sadguru Swami Virajeshwara Saraswati on behalf of all of us and to the entire Guru Parampara. Today's discourse on Viveka Chudamani will continue. Last time we had stopped at the shloka number 325. These sets of shlokas, Acharya, Shankara, Bhagavatpada, dealing with is mainly the issue of pramada. And he will continue the same point. So before that, Mangala Charana shloka. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Mahasaraswatyai Namaha, Sadashiva Samarambham Sri Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranadosmiham Om Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwaraya Hari Om. So in these sets of shlokas, Acharya is continuously, repeatedly, is telling about how the pramada will lead to totally forgetting our own basic reality and then putting us into this web of Maya called samsara. So we become completely involved in the samsara. Our whole life, because of the concept of the ahankara, me, myself, and mine, mamakara, we are involved outside. Outwardly, our life goes on. Inwardly, we become totally disconnected with our own real reality. Our reality is we are Atma Swarupa, Asanga, totally non-associated all the time, Kevala, alone. Ekam eva adviti, Brahma Padartha, Brahma Vastu. I am that Atma Swarupa. So that when, because of Smuti Vibhrama, it slips out. So that is called Pramada. Pramada is negligence, inadvertence, forgetting our real reality, forgetting really who I am. Associating with people, associating with Vishayas, associating with sense objects, associating with our mental thoughts. The whole life process continues. That is because of pramada. So in the next set of few sets of shlokas, same thing Acharya is dealing with and telling his disciple, Mumukshu, an advanced Uttama Adhikari, who is really qualified to know the Brahma, Brahmavastu. So last time Acharya stopped at the same point, logically taking one after another, how pramada leads to so many problems, one after another, how we get deluded. Vishayeshu avishchetaha sankalpayati tadgunan samyak sankalpanat kamaha kamat pumsaha pravartanam. So that was the last shloka covered. Here, Acharya is very clear. When the mind enters into the outward life about our desires emanating, and all the time thinking about our own desires to possess this or that, what happens? The desires will further solidify, they further fructify, become so strong, and those desires lead us to do all the necessary karmas connected with the fulfillment of my desire. Same thing in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna Paramatma, in the second famous, most important chapter, Sankhya Yoga, the second chapter. He deals the same thing 5,000 years before what Lord has said. Yayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangaste Shupajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodho Vijayate Yayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangaste Shupajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodho Vijayate. Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, making Arjuna as the nimitta. He is telling the entire mankind. So what he says there? Association with the sense objects or the desired objects, association with the Vishayas breeds the attachment. And when the attachment becomes stronger and stronger in the mind, it becomes the desire to possess. When the desire is generated, if the desires are not fulfilled according to our will and wish, then due to that restlessness, anger, krodha, anger, wrath develops in it. And the mind becomes more angry, wrathful, vengeful, because I am not getting what I really wanted. So that is what Lord says. And he continues the next shloka there itself in Bhagavad Gita. So association with the sense objects breeds the desire, attachment. Sangha, attachment. Attachment results in desires, and the desire generates the anger when we don't get our desires fulfilled. Then he says next in Bhagavad Gita, what he says? Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhramaha, smriti bhramshat buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati. The very next shloka there in Bhagavad Gita. When the anger erupts in my mind, because I am not getting what I wanted in my life. So much I had so many desires, one after another, I am not getting them fulfilled in my life. So that anger develops, and that anger, it creates a sort of confusion in the mind. My thinking, reasoning faculty, brain power, it results in confusion. And the confusion, because of the anger, it clouds my real thinking apparatus or the memory. It clouds my memory. I'm not able to think properly. And it also clouds or covers our intellect. And the intellect goes haywire. I'm really confused because I'm angry. I'm not getting things what I wanted. So in that confusion, there is a loss of real intelligence or reasoning power. I lose my balance of the mind. Then ultimately I will perish. That is what Lord says. Smriti bhramshat buddhinashaha, buddhinashat pranashyati. So when the buddhinasha occurs, the man's downfall takes pranashyati. He is destroyed. Metaphorically, destroyed means he will never go up in the ladder of spirituality. ಭಗವಂತ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದನ್ನೇ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ವಿವೇಕ ಚೂಡಾಮಣಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದು ಮುಂದಿನ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ತತಸ್ವರೂಪ ವಿಭ್ರಂಶೋ ವಿಭ್ರಷ್ಟಸ್ತು ಪತತ್ಯದಃ ಪತಿತಸ್ಯ ವಿನಾಶಂ ಪುನರ್ನಾರೋಹ ಈಕ್ಷ್ಯತೆ ಸಂಕಲ್ಪಂ ವರ್ಜಯೇತ್ ತಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಸರ್ವಾನರ್ಥಸ್ಯ ಕಾರಣಂ. The next shloka, Acharya here says, almost similar to Bhagavad Gita sermon by the Lord Krishna Paramatma. Tata swarupa vibhramsho vibrashtastu patatyadha पतितस्य विनानाशं पुनर्नारोह ईक्षते संकल्पं वर्जयेत् तस्मात् सर्वानर्थस्य कारणम्। ततः स्वरूप विभ्रंशः विप्रष्टस्तु पतति अधः. Acharya says to his disciple, look, my dear disciple, so what happens when the mind gets deflected, when because of pramada, negligence, swarupa vibhramsha occurs, then that vibrashtaha, a person who has forgotten his own reality due to pramada, negligence, inadvertence, patati adaha, he falls down, he totally falls down. Patitasya vinanasham punarnaroha ikshate. Once he falls down, he will never come up again. Acharya is telling his disciples. So metaphorically and spiritually, this means in the path of realization, a mumukshu should be careful. If you forget your swarupa, your reality, during your sadhana, spiritual sadhana, you go down spiritually, you will never come up spiritually, and you will never realize your real nature, true potential. You will never be liberated, because spiritually you are going down because your mind is totally outward thinking. That is due to negligence. All the time Acharya is hinting the point. The negligence of not remembering who really I am. The negligence of forgetting my own reality. What is the reality? I am not the anatma vastu anymore. I am not the body anymore. I am not the mind anymore. I am not chitta. I am not even the buddhi. I am not any of these perishable things. The whole world, the whole universe, the prapancha is ultimately perishable. But my body is also perishable. So I am totally dissociated. I am asanga, not associated with the body anymore. I am imperishable truth. I am that sublime truth. I am that ultimate truth. I am that cosmic truth. I am that Brahmavastu. I am that Atma Swarupa. I am no more attached to the world, the worldly senses, or the sensual things, or the objects of the world. The world itself is an illusion. In this illusory world, which is perishable, which is transitory, which is there today, it will go tomorrow. My body is living today, it will die tomorrow. All my kith and kins, my association, my so-called mine concept, my own people, my own family, my own money, my own possession, my own wealth, everything will perish once I die. Once the body falls in, where is the question of me and mine? Everything goes away. So this constant remembering, constant, always, steadfastly remembering that the reality, when it doesn't happen, we slip off. That's called pramada. That is the negligence. ಸೊ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ? ಪ್ರಮಾದದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ವಿಸ್ಮೃತಿ, ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ನಾನು ಯಾರು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗದೆ ಇದ್ದಾಗ, ಜಗತ್ತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೊರಮುಖವಾಗಿ ನಾನು ದೇಹ ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವದಿಂದ ಮಮಕಾರ ಅಹಂಕಾರದಿಂದ ಜೀವನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಚ್ಯುತಿಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪದಿಂದ ನಾವು ಜಾರಿ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬೀಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಜಾರಿ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬಿದ್ದರೆ ನಾಶವಾಗ್ತೇವೆ, ಅಥವಾ ನಾಶವಾಗ್ತೇವೆ ಹೊರತು ಅದರಿಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಪುನರುತ್ಥಾನ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಅನರ್ಥಗಳಿಗೆ, ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕ ಅನರ್ಥಗಳಿಗೆ ಕಾರಣವಾದಂತಹ ಪರಮ ಪುರುಷಾರ್ಥವಾದ ಮೋಕ್ಷೇಚ್ಛೆಯನ್ನು ಉಳ್ಳಂತಹ ನೀನು ಪ್ರಿಯ ಶಿಷ್ಯ, ರೀತಿಯ ಅನರ್ಥಗಳಿಗೆ ಕಾರಣವಾದಂತಹ ಈ ಸಂಸಾರ ಬಂಧನಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣವಾದಂತಹ ಈ ವಿಷಯ ಚಿಂತನೆಯನ್ನು ಬಿಡು. ವಿಷಯಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಚಿಂತನೆ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನ ಬಿಡು, ಬಯಕೆಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಚಿಂತನೆ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನ ಬಿಡು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಥರ್ಡ್ ಲೈನ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಸೇಸ್ ಟು ದ ಡಿಸೈಪಲ್, ಸಂಕಲ್ಪಂ ವರ್ಜಯೇತ್ ತಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಸರ್ವ ಅನರ್ಥಸ್ಯ ಕಾರಣಂ. ಲುಕ್ ಮೈ ಡಿಯರ್ ಡಿಸೈಪಲ್, ಸರ್ವ ಅನರ್ಥಸ್ಯ ಕಾರಣಂ ಸಂಕಲ್ಪಂ ವರ್ಜಯೇತ್. All the desire, the feeling, the thought, mind, objects, possessive feelings, all that comes under sankalpa, vishaya sukha sankalpa. So sarva anarthasya karanam sankalpam varjaye. So Acharya is very clear. Tasmat, that means therefore. There is an injunction in the line, in the stroke, in the third. Tasmat, Acharya. That is a sort of a caution. So, my dear disciple, be aware. You be aware of your reality. All the thoughts and sankalpas are the root cause for your downfall in this samsara, and they will bind you in this samsara or the world. You cannot escape, so that your dying and rebirth, death and rebirth, it will continue for eons and eons together. So the bondage will increase permanently as long as you forget your own reality, as long as you start thinking about Vishaya Sukha and the objects, possessiveness in your mind to possess whatever you want. So the desires, that ultimately desires, they will bind you and bind you and bind you fully to the samsara. He continues. ಮತ್ತೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ, ಅತ ಪ್ರಮಾದಾತ್ ನ ಪರೋಸ್ತಿ ಮೃತ್ಯುರ್ ವಿವೇಕಿನೋ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಿದ ಸಮಾಧೌ ಸಮಾಹಿತಃ ಸಿದ್ಧಿಮುಪೈತಿ ಸಮ್ಯಕ್ ಸಮಾಹಿತಾತ್ಮ ಭವ ಸಾವಧಾನಃ. ಅತ ಪ್ರಮಾದಾತ್ ನ ಪರೋಸ್ತಿ ಮೃತ್ಯುರ್ ವಿವೇಕಿನೋ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಿದ ಸಮಾಧೌ ಸಮಾಹಿತಃ ಸಿದ್ಧಿಮುಪೈತಿ ಸಮ್ಯಕ್ ಸಮಾಹಿತಾತ್ಮ ಅವಸಾವಧಾನ. ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಶಿಷ್ಯ, ವಿವೇಕಿಯಾದವನಿಗೆ, ಪ್ರಾಜ್ಞನಾದವನಿಗೆ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನದ ಸಮೀಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದು ಸಾಧನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವನಿಗೆ, ಅವನಿಗೆ ಈ ಪ್ರಮಾದ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಬೇರೆ ಮೃತ್ಯು ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದೂ ಇಲ್ಲವೇ ಇಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸರಿಯಾದ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮಾಧಿ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದರೆ, ಸಮಾಧಿ ಉಂಟಾದರೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ನಿರ್ವಿಕಲ್ಪ ಸಮಾಧಿ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರದ ಅನುಭವ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ನೀನು ಎಚ್ಚರಿಕೆಯಿಂದ ಸಮಾಹಿತಾತ್ಮ ಭವ, ಸಮಾಹಿತನಾಗು, ಸಮಾಧಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮಾಹಿತನಾಗು ಅಂತ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಅಪ್ಪಣೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಹಿ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್, ಅತ ಪ್ರಮಾದಾತ್ ನ ಪರೋಸ್ತಿ ಮೃತ್ಯು ವಿವೇಕಿನೋ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಿದ ಸಮಾಧೌ. ವಿವೇಕಿನಃ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಿದಃ ಸಮಾಧೌ ಪ್ರಮಾದಾತ್ ಪರಃ ನ ಮೃತ್ಯು ಅಸ್ತಿ. That is like that. So for a viveki, for a learned one, for a jnani, Acharya says, for a Brahmavida, for a jnani, for a viveki, during his deep contemplation, one-pointed contemplation, that is in the samadhi state, when he is in deep contemplation, when he is in the deep concentration, dwelling on Atmasrupa, dwelling on Parabrahma Vastu, there is no greater danger than the pramada, which itself is nothing but a death warrant. So there is no other death for a jnani other than pramada, who is in deep samadhi, contemplating. So the distraction itself is just like a death. So he says, Acharya to the disciple. That is why samahita siddhimupaita samyak samahitatma bhava savadhana. So look, my dear disciple, so only with a proper, deeper and deeper concentration in the samadhi sthiti, in the ultimate nirvikalpa samadhi sthiti, one attains liberation, one attains salvation. He becomes aware firsthand about his true nature by the grace of Atma itself, by the grace of God himself, Ishvara himself. So he will realize the self, his true nature, true potentiality, only in the deeper nirvikalpa samadhi. So, samahitatma bhava savadhana. That is why, my dear disciple, remember this and be always carefully remain well in that samadhi state. Always well in that, remain in samadhi state till the jnana dawns perfectly, not fleetingly. So here Acharya is using the word samadhi. And samadhi here, as per the bhashya of Sri Chandrasekhar Bharati Mahaswamigal, the word samadhi here means nirvikalpa samadhi. That is totally concentration, deeper concentration without individual presence or individual sense. So it is total deep concentration at all during the meditative state. So that Mahaswamigal calls it as here nirvikalpa samadhi. The samadhi prakarana in Viveka Chudamani, again Acharya deals in detail later in the later shlokas. And here, for a jnani like me, it becomes very difficult to explain what exactly samadhi means. What exactly samadhi means. What exactly here nirvikalpa samadhi means, as Sri Chandrasekhar Bharati Mahaswamigal writes the bhashya for the shloka. The Savikalpa and Nirvikalpa Samadhi, these two words are used in Vedanta very, very, very in the clear cut terms. Very clear cut. In Savikalpa Samadhi, it is said that at the subtlest level, at the Sukshma level, mentally, during the state of samadhi, deeper concentration, the awareness of the presence of I is still persisting. So, in the subtle level, Sukshma level, the duality is still persisting. There is a drushta and there is a drushya. There is this seer and there is an object seen. The seer is aware of himself and he is also aware of the dhyana vastu, the scene, the object. So still the duality is persisting. He is sensing that he is aware of himself and he is perceiving the object of the vastu on which he is contemplating. So that is savikalpa, or it is also called samprajnata samadhi. I don't know, since my vocabulary absolutely is not up to the mark. And also I am unable to convey all the feelings and the definitions here at the higher level. I am trying to just blurt out in my own fashion a little bit tidbits here. If I am wrong, you have to pardon me. Please correct me if I go wrong in explaining all these. Because samadhi state cannot be really explained. It has to be experienced. What is samadhi? It cannot be explained by words. A person who has not entered into samadhi by the grace of Lord, by the grace of Ishvara or Sadguru, now he may not understand when the opposite person tells him about the samadhi. What is the samadhi? So what is the difference between savikalpa samadhi and nirvikalpa samadhi? It's not possible. And for a person like me, Ajnani, a dust particle, it is still difficult to explain all this completely to the satisfaction of the viewer or to the listener. You have to pardon me on that. Here, Sri Chandrasekhara Bharati Master Swami in his Bhashya, he is using the word, it refers to Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So, Atma Darshana happens only in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. The reality dawns, the reality of my nature dawns only in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, not in the Savikalpa Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is also called as Nirbija Samadhi. So all these Vedantic words are there. The more these words are used, more the people who are in the initial sadhana mode will get confused and confused. All that strikes here in the mind is a very tangible but not completely suitable and superficial analogy I can give, which may not be completely correct. It won't do justice at all. But just for the sake of clarification, an analogy can be given to try to explain what is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. There, the duality is totally lost. The seer and the seen, that distinction is totally lost. This disappears. Drushya and Drushta, they merge with one another. The seer and the seen, they merge with one another. So the duality is totally lost. The difference is totally vanished. So this can be compared to our day-to-day experience. What is Nirvikalpa Samadhi? It can be compared, sort of an analogy, to our deep sleep state, daily what we experience. Deep sleep. ನಿರ್ವಿಕಲ್ಪ ಸಮಾಧಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಕಷ್ಟ. ಅದು ನಮ್ಮಂತ ಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಹೋಲಿಕೆ ಕೊಡಬಹುದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಗಾಢ ನಿದ್ರಾವಸ್ಥೆ ನೆನೆಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಪ್ರತಿ ದಿವಸ ಅನುಭವಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ನಿದ್ರಾವಸ್ಥೆ, ಗಾಢವಾದ ನಿದ್ದೆ, ಅದು ನಿರ್ವಿಕಲ್ಪ ಸಮಾಧಿಗೆ ಸಮಾನಾಂತರವಾಗಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಅನುಭವ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಗಾಢವಾದ ನಿದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಎಲ್ಲಿರ್ತೀರಿ? ನಿಮಗೆ ನೀವು ಯಾರು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆಯಾ? ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರು ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆಯಾ? ನಿಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವ ಏನು? ನಿಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ವಯಸ್ಸು, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಗಂಡೋ ಹೆಣ್ಣೋ ಯಾವುದೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ಮಾಡುವುದು ಕೆಲಸ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸಂಸಾರದ ತಾಪತ್ರಯಗಳು, 108 ಚಿಂತೆಗಳು ಯಾವುದೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಅನ್ನೋ ವಸ್ತುನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನೀವಲ್ಲಿ ಗಾಢ ನಿದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿರ್ತೀರಿ? ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾವ ವಸ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲ, ವಿವೇಚನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಚಿಂತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ತಕರಾರು. ನಾನು ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಅಹಂಕಾರವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆಗ ನನ್ನವರು ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮಮಕಾರವೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದು ತರ ನಿರಾಳವಾದ, ನಿರಮ್ಮಳವಾದ, ಆನಂದಮಯ, ನಿಜವಾದ ಆನಂದಮಯ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಆದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಇದೆ. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾನಂದ ತುಂಬಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ. ಸೊ ಡೀಪ್ ಸ್ಲೀಪ್, there is total identity loss. Is it not? Every day we experience. In the deep sleep, you don't remember who you are. You don't know your status. You don't remember your body, your mind, your brain, your chitta, and also you don't remember your kiths and kins, your association, dissociation, your good and bad feelings, your raga and dvesha, where you are working, what is your bank balance, what is your status, whether you are a man or a woman. You don't even bother about your kids and kins, your parents. Nobody is. You are not bothered. There is nobody in the deep sleep. There is nobody. Totally, there is a total identity loss. Your ego is totally lost. There is no awareness that you are existing. You don't think, you don't be aware, you are not aware that you are in deep sleep. You are totally lost. All your problems are lost. So there is nothing like happiness, nothing like suffering, nothing like grief. So it is beyond a beautiful state where there is total stillness. It's sort of a bliss, Brahmananda. It is a sort of a bliss, is it not? Every one of you, please think. Try to recollect every day when you are in deep sleep, what is the state of mind? Where are you? Where are your problems? Where are your sufferings? Where are your umpteen number of desires, unfulfilled desires? If you think for a second, where are you in deep sleep? Where is your identity? Where is your wife? Where is your kid? Where is your family? Where is your parent, father and mother, your colleagues? About your problems? Not a single one. Totally, you are unaware of everything, but you are aware deeply, subconsciously. You are aware in the sense, not about your identity, but you are full of awareness. There is a total bliss. So that full of awareness or total bliss is nothing but Brahmananda. So it is a fleeting Brahmananda, Nijananda state. It is beyond happiness. Happiness is only transitory. It is beyond, higher than that. So that Brahmananda, Nijananda state, what we experience. So the deep sleep, there is nothing but there is everything. So that can be compared to Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So while in the waking state during dhyana, during meditation, if I could enter into that type of Nirvikalpa Samadhi by the grace of Ishvara, by the grace of Lord, by the grace of Sadguru, then all these things become very clear. The reality dawns itself. Identity is lost, reality dawns. Then you escape from the cycle of birth and death. So that is what Acharya says here. Samahitaha siddhimupaita samyak samahitatma bhava savadhan. So be careful, be engaged, and try to be in the deeper Nirvikalpa Samadhi Sthiti mode all the time during your sadhana. Because that is nothing but that leads to attainment of jnana, that leads to liberation, that leads to kaivalya. Then you know that you are one and there is no second. You are the only one present. There is no second. Ekam eva advitiyam, that feeling sets in automatically. It is not, a jnana is not coming from outside. You yourself become jnana swarupa. That is what Vedanta also calls it as attaining kaivalya, moksha, salvation. So next, same thing Acharya continues. Jivato yasya kaivalyam videhe sacha kevalah yatkinchat pashyato bedam bhayam brote yajushutihi. Jivato yasya kaivalyam videhe sacha kevalah yatkinchat Pashyato bhedam bhayam brute yajushrutihi. Now Acharya says here, ಬದುಕಿರುವಾಗಲೇ ಶರೀರ ಇರುವಾಗಲೇ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಈ ಸಮಾಧಿ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಿಂದ ಕೈವಲ್ಯ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಪ್ರಾಪ್ತಿಯಾಗಿದೆಯೋ, ದೇಹಾನಂತರದಲ್ಲಿ ದೇಹ ಮರಣ ಹೊಂದಿದ ನಂತರ, ದೇಹಪಾತವಾದ ನಂತರವೂ ಆತನಿಗೆ ಕೈವಲ್ಯ ಪ್ರಾಪ್ತಿ. ಆತ ಕೇವಲನಾಗಿ ಇರುತ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೈವಲ್ಯ ಪ್ರಾಪ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತದೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಈ ಜಗತ್ತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಭೇದವನ್ನೂ ನೋಡಿದರೂ ಸಹ, ಯಾರು ಭೇದವನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ತಾನೋ, ನಾನು ಬೇರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಬೇರೆ, ನಾನು ಬೇರೆ ಈ ವಸ್ತು ಬೇರೆ, ಅದು ಬೇರೆ ಇದು ಬೇರೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಭೇದ ಭಾವ ಇದು ಯಾರ ಅನುಭವಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯೋ ಅಂಥವರಿಗೆ ಯಾವತ್ತಿದ್ದರೂ ಭಯ ಇರುತ್ತದೆ. ಇದು ಶ್ರುತಿ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ. ತೈತ್ತರಿಯ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತಿನ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು. ಜೀವತೋ ಯಸ್ಯ ಕೈವಲ್ಯಂ ವಿದೇಹೇ ಸಚ ಕೇವಲ. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಬದುಕಿರುವಾಗ ಯಾರು ಜೀವನ್ಮುಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಹೊಂದುತ್ತಾನೋ, ಯಾರು ಮುಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಪಡೆಯುತ್ತಾನೋ, ತನ್ನ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಅರ್ಥಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಮುಕ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ತನ್ನ ನಿಜರೂಪವನ್ನು ಯಾರು ಅರ್ಥಕೊಂಡ್ರು ಆತ ಕೈವಲ್ಯ ಪದವಿಯನ್ನು ಪಡೆದ ಹಾಗೆ. ಆತ ಮರಣ ನಂತರವೂ ಸಹ ಕೇವಲ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ವಿದೇಹ ಮುಕ್ತಿ ಹೊಂದುತ್ತಾನೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಭೇದವನ್ನು ನೋಡುವವನಿಗೆ ಯಾವತ್ತಿದ್ರೂ ಭಯ. ಇದು ಶ್ರುತಿ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. Now, so what he says here in this shloka, the one who remains liberated, once who dawns in the person in whom the jnana dawns in, once he becomes a Brahmavid, a knower of Brahma, once he understands his reality, he reaches Kaivalya while still living. He becomes Kaivalya, he reaches Kaivalya means moksha. He attains salvation, liberation while living itself. So, liberated while living itself is called Jivan Mukti, as per Acharya's definition. And Acharya says, even after the death of the body, he remains in the same Kaivalya pada. Means, Kevalaha means Kaivalya, means alone. Alone means what? He remains a jnani, that is Videha Mukti. While living, he is referred as a Jivan Mukta. After the death of the body, he is referred as Videha Mukta, a jnani, a knower of the truth, a Brahmajnani. Whereas the others, normal ajnanis, Acharya tells in the second line, Yat kinchit pashyato bedham bhayam brute yajushruti. The Yajurveda, Shruti means Upanishad of the Yajurveda, that the Taittiriya Upanishad says, Acharya giving the example. On the contrary, if you see the duality, even minutest level, then it leads to fear. The fear of everything, the fear of losing, the fear of not possessing, the fear of things happening against your will and wish. Normally to every one of us, that fear is there. The fear is there from the birth to death. What is that fear? Of so many types. So many types. Not getting things as you desire. Thinking that, oh, whether things happen according to my will and wish or not, fear. Whether people like me or not, fear. Whether things happen very smoothly, whether it without any crisis. All the doubts lead to fear. Fear complex, the mind. What is going to happen tomorrow? What people will tell? What people will think of me? Everything is generated out of fear. Fear of life. Because you are in samsara, you are ajnani, you are not destined to be, in the sadhana mode. You are in the worldly sense. You are in the worldly life. So always the fear is at the back of our mind in all our actions. what people say. That is one aspect of the fear. All our actions are guided normally by these points in life. What people think of me, my status, what people say about me at my back. These things always guide us. That is the fear. And above all, the fear of in the future losing my wealth, the fear of losing my property, the fear of my own people deserting me, the fear of my wife or husband deserting me, not treating me well, the fear of my own children deserting me, not treating me well. Left to myself, they may leave me on the road, they may ditch me, they may take away all my property, they may deceive me, my friends may deceive me, my colleagues may deceive me. And ultimately, above all, the fear of death. Our Gurudev used to always say, above all, ultimately, built in the greatest fear complex in the human mind from birth to death is the fear of death. That is the greatest fear. Mahabhaya, greatest fear, fear of death. I am going to die one day. I want to live. I want to live. Knowingly well, knowingly well, knowingly well that everybody has to die today or tomorrow. Seeing our own elders dying in our family, but still, when the question of death sets in into our mind is fearful. I refuse. The fear catches up. Oh, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. So the fear of death is so great, so gripping in its clutches like an octopus. It will never allow your mind to go hither and there. It is always there. As especially, please mark my words, especially when you reach 60 plus of the age, and by God's grace, 70 plus of the age, or 80 plus of the age, or still 90 plus of the age, what happens? You will experience the different gradations, the different levels of the death fear, how sets in in the mind, and at the back of the mind is always there 24/7, lingering and your whole psyche is completely controlled by the fear of death. People suffer in their mind, especially in the last days, especially on the deathbed, because they are normal people. They are not spiritually endowed people. They are not graced by the Guru or God. So, however intelligent, however lofty positions they had in the life, wealthy people, super wealthy people, very rich people in their life, the fear of death will catch. Absolute. So that's what Shruti says. Taittiriya Upanishad says, all this is because I am living in the duality. I am different, you are different. So the duality sets in the fear. So the Taittiriya Upanishad says, Yada Kaiveshya etasmin udaramantaram kurute ata tasya bhayam bhavati. Taittiriya Upanishad says, Yada Heveshya etasmin udaram antaram kurute ata tasya bhayam bhavati. That means, even if you find a minutest difference of duality, that I am different, he is different, this is different, that is different, I am separate, he is separate entity, like that, even a minutest difference is felt, then it generates fear. Without remembering the whole thing is manifestation of Parabrahma Vastu, without developing Sarvatma Bhava, without losing the Sharira Bhava, the minute difference when you sense in the life, it leads to fear. That is what the Upanishad says. So, Acharya is hinting that in the second line of the Yat kinchit pashyato bhedam bhayam brute yajushruti. So, next shloka makes it clear. Yada kada vapi vipashchidesha brahmanyante api anumatra bhedam pashyat तथा अमुष्य भयं तदैव यद्वीक्षितं भिन्नतया प्रमादात् यदा कदा वापि विपश्चिदेश ब्रह्मण्यनन्ते अपि अणुमात्रभेदं ब्रह्मणि अनन्ते अपि अणुमात्रभेदं सेकंड लाइन पश्यत्यथामुष्य भयं तदैव यद्वीक्षितं भिन्नतया प्रमादात्. ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಮತ್ತೆ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೇ ಆಗಲಿ, ಯಾವ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಲಿ, ಜ್ಞಾನಿಯಾದವನು ಅಥವಾ ಜ್ಞಾನ ನಿಷ್ಠೆ ಉಳ್ಳವನು, ವಿದ್ವಾಂಸನಾದವನು, ಪ್ರಾಜ್ಞನಾದವನು ಈ ಅನಂತವಾದ ಏಕವಾದ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತುವಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಭೇದವನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದರೂ ಸಹ ಆ ತಪ್ಪಿನಿಂದ, ಪ್ರಮಾದದಿಂದ ಆ ಭೇದವನ್ನ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥವನಿಗೆ ಭಯವನ್ನ ಉಂಟು ಮಾಡುತ್ತದೆ. ಭೇದ ದೃಷ್ಟಿ ಉಳ್ಳವನಿಗೆ ಸದಾ ಭಯ ಇರುತ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಭೇದ ದೃಷ್ಟಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಸಂಸಾರ, ಜೀವಿಗಳು, ನಾನು, ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅನ್ನುವ ದ್ವೈತ ಭಾವ. ಭೇದ ದೃಷ್ಟಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದ್ವೈತ ಭಾವ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಸತ್ಯ ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಸತ್ಯ, ಇದು ಸತ್ಯ, ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದೆಲ್ಲ ಸತ್ಯ, ಈ ದೃಶ್ಯ ಜಗತ್ತು ಸತ್ಯ ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವನೆ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಭೇದ ಭಾವ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಭೇದ ಭಾವ ಇದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಯ ಉಂಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ. So what Acharya says here, in any given time, yada kada vapi vipashchideshah, eshah vipashchid yada kada vapi, in any given time, at any time, a wise man, vipashchid, a wise man, a learned man, a prajna, a tattvadarshi, samaveta, buddha, all these Vedantic words denoting the wise man, learned man, jnani. So such a learned one, if he sees even a minutest difference, duality, even if he sees a minutest difference, subtle difference, that I am different, that is different. That means totally thinking that the whole world is real, objects are real, their existence eternal. So when the whole thing is real, what happens? I am different, he is different. So like that, if a jnani sees the minutest difference, and that by itself that results in pramada, negligence, slipping down from the reality. The whole thing is Brahman. So sarvam khalvidam Brahma, that is gone in the mind. The whole thing is manifestation, abhivakti of Brahma, that is gone. So when you slip from that, that results in negligence, pramada. So that pramada itself becomes source of fear. Same thing Acharya is repeating. So once even a learned man, a jnani, a shastraveda, a prajna, a scholar, a vidvamsa, who is in the mode of sadhana, who is in the spiritual mode of sadhana, a true seeker, who is trying to seek the reality, even such a seeker, such a spiritual aspirant, look, my dear disciple, even such a seeker, if he sees the difference, if he sees the duality, I am different, he is different, me and he and this and that concept, if he develops in the mind about Parabrahma Vastu, if he starts believing that the whole world is real, the diverse objects and inanimate and animate things are real, they are all different like that. If we start seeing the duality, if we actually, in other words, his perception is that duality exists. If he thinks like that, by carelessness, by negligence, that leads to fear. Pashyat yatha mushya bhayam tadaiva yad dikshitam bhinnataya pramada. So that leads to fear. Fear. So Acharya is making the point very clear. For a Vedadarshi, for a person who sees a duality in the world, fear is always there at the back of the mind. Nobody is devoid of fear, fear complex. Only a real jnani, a realized master, is totally out of fear. There is no fear concept. For all ajnanis, the fear is the base. Fear of everything. So that is why Acharya is putting this point very vehemently, repeatedly, how the pramada, negligence, leads to fear. See, in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, same thing, another Shruti Vachan. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also says a beautiful mantra is there. Dvitiyatvai bhayam bhavati. Very simple anuvak. Dvitiyatvai bhayam bhavati. What does that mean? Dvitiyat, the very perception of the second existence other than me, the very feeling that there is something other than me existing, the second, the moment you think there is one more, duality, more than one existing, that leads to fear. Dvitiyatvai bhayam bhavati, leads to fear. This is Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So Acharya is making the point, pramada, negligence. Swarupa Vismruti, pramada means slipping from my reality. All these things, please remember, Acharya is telling the highest mumukshu, qualified disciple, Uttamadhikari, about the highest truth of reaching the reality. The highest truth, the path he is showing to the mumukshu or to such an aspirant, how he should conduct himself, how he should be careful to avoid the negligence, pramada, because pramada is a dangerous obstacle in realization of the true nature. All these things sound sometimes very confusing for people at our level who are not even qualified mumukshus or disciples. But Viveka Chudamani stands like a beacon, a jewel, glittering in the field of spirituality with all the considerate compassion and karunya and mercy. Acharya is giving out these highest levels of truth in a different stepwise levels in different shlokas, so that at least if I make a sincere attempt, if I really become serious to sit down and take and understand the shlokas one by one in the whole entirety, this will definitely help us. This will definitely help us. The God's grace will flow inside the heart, and the God will show the way. The Sadguru will show the way. This is what my Gurudeva used to tell me first time when he called me and said, you start giving discourse on Vivek Chudamani. Very early by end of 2012, he initiated me into this. For nearly 1 year it went on. I was apprehending how a jnani like me can even think of, let alone reading, giving a discourse on what Vivek Chudamani, Acharya Shankara Bhagavatpada. Gurudev said, I know you can do it. So I took it as only Adesha Guru. So by experiences, personal experiences, only when you are deeply involved in Vedanta or in the spiritual study or in actual process of meditation, all these things will fall flat by the grace of Sadguru, by the grace of Lord, by the grace of Ishvara. So today, with the Guru Sankalpa, we stop here. I am stopping, I think, here. Shloka number 329 today. Hari Om. Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. Hari Om. Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwara.
Hari Om, sir. Apologies for the technical glitch. And I was bemused because you said you could not describe the state of samadhi. I don't know who else can come as close. But
I don't
I may be
know. Don't
forgiven.
know because no, I don't know Kailash. Certain things can't be explained, cannot be explained. And a Ajnani like me, sitting to explain, it is humanly impossible.
I leave it to the Mahaguru to decipher that.
I'm only thinking that I'm adding more confusion to the minds who are listening to the blabbering of this person on Vivek Chudamani. People
No,
who
sir.
are really in the know-how may be laughing in their mind what this person is talking nonsense. I don't know. With
Not at all, sir.
due apology.
Knowledge is flowing through Ma Saraswati and through our Mahaguru, and it will only flow
Right.
right.
My apologies to all Mahatmans who are all ultimately one only, but in different at different periods, time frame appear in different bodies. So my sincere apologies to all the Mahatmans to pardon me if I have gone wrong anywhere in trying to explain what cannot be explained. Correct?
This was beautiful, sir. Thank you so much for this.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.